so this one time, I showed a couple of card trick that did not turn out the way I expected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform the trick here, and then I'm going to try to recreate the details of what happened that night, okay? So, for starters, I came over to the girl, and I said, I need you to go ahead and pick out 2 cards for me. So I'm going to riffle down, just call it stop at any time you like. Call that stop right here. I said we need 2 cards for this, so we have the 3 of clubs and the jack of hearts. So now, at this point, I say, alright, just go ahead and just sign your name right across the face of this card. And of course, I don't have a spectator with me, so I'm just going to have to sign it myself. So I put my signature right on here. I'll put my full name as so. And now I also say it's very important that you put your number on the card as well. Now, of course I was joking, but again, this one time that I performed the trick, the girl actually did put her number on the card. Now, I wasn't surprised that the girl gave me her number because, well, look at me. But I was a little surprised that she gave it to me in front of her boyfriend, so I was a little thrown off. But nonetheless, I started doing magic with her card. I actually forgot that he even picked the jack of hearts in the first place. Now, I did that trick where I take the card, I leave it more or less in the center of the deck, just as so. And then, with just a very slight shake of the deck, what actually happened is her signed card jumped right to the top of the deck. Then I did another trick where we take that signed card. Once again, leave it more or less in the center of the deck. And with just a very quick shake, just as so, what actually happened is down here in my pocket, there was one card, and that was her signed card. The 3 of clubs. Now, at this point, the guy over here was getting a little bit upset because he took the deck and ripped it right out of my hands and started spreading through it and said, I know how you're doing that. He said, you have more than 1 3 of clubs in this deck. And at this point, I had to remind the guy, I'm like, there's only 1 3 of clubs in the entire world that has your girlfriend's name and number on it. Now, that's when he really got upset. Because what he did is he took that 3 of clubs from me and he actually tore it into little pieces just like this. He literally just started taking the card and tearing it in half, very slowly and painfully, like forcing me to watch the fact that I was tearing this card. And then he even tore it into 8ths, just took the card and tore it all the way up. And once he tore it up, he took all the pieces and pinned it right underneath his hand. Now, obviously, I don't have a spectator with me, so we're going to use the card box right over here to represent the guy's hand used to pin the cards, okay? And he said, alright, Houdini, enough's enough. Why don't you show me some magic with my card? So, I was a little thrown off at this point, because, again, I had forgot that he picked the jack of hearts in the first place. But now, I no longer had the girl's name or number, so I was a little clueless of what to do. So I sat there and thought for a minute, and I was like, you know what? You want to see magic with your card? He's like, I'll give you magic with your card. So what I did is I took that jack of hearts, and I just changed it right back into the signed 3 of clubs that was just torn up. And I said, well, now you can have your card back. And at this point, he looked at me shocked, and when he lifted up his hand, he saw that the torn card was his jack of hearts. So anyways, guys, that is the trick. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So now let's get straight into the tutorial. Alright guys, hopefully you stuck around for the tutorial. But before we get into the actual teachings of this trick, I want to give credit where credit is due. And that is going to go to Jason Ladani and the Confident Deceptions 4 DVD set. Now, if you're serious about your card magic, I highly recommend you pick this DVD set up. It includes fantastic card magic material. You're getting 16 amazing effects, in-depth sleight of hand techniques, and a bunch of bonus material and good stuff like that. The set goes for roughly $80, so it is a little bit on the pricey side, but when I say it's worth it, listen to me. You guys are not going to regret buying this. Again, if you are really serious about your card magic, pick this up. You guys will not regret it. So, this is one of the effects. of the DVD set that I'm going to be teaching you today. It is called The Player, so let's take a look at it. Okay, so for this trick, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a Sharpie, a regular deck of cards, and a duplicate card. Now, I should mention that whichever deck you choose to use, make sure you're using a deck that you are willing to waste, considering you are going to be signing and tearing cards. You don't want to use any valuable limited edition cards or anything like that. So like I said, you're going to need a duplicate card. So grab any card you want from this deck. In this case, I'm choosing the 3 of spades, and then get a duplicate card from another deck. So I have 2 duplicate 3 of spades right here. Also, you're going to remove any card that you like that you want to be your force card. Now make sure that your force card contrasts nicely from your duplicate cards. So I have 2 3 of spades, so a king of hearts will contrast nicely. And then you're just going to remove any random card that you want. It does not matter what this card is, because no one is ever going to see this card. So once you have your 4 cards, you're going to set them up as so. It's going to be your force card, one of the duplicates, the random card, and then the second duplicate. Once you have the cards set up in that order, you're just going to place them on top of the deck, and then you are ready to go. Now, one last thing before I get into the mechanics, I want to make sure it's clear that you need to perform this for 2 spectators. No more, no less. 2 spectators. And those 2 spectators need to be 1 man and 1 woman. Not 2 women, not 2 men, 1 man, 1 woman. It's all just because for the patterning reasons and for the sequential events of the trick. Just make sure you have 1 man and 1 woman. As far as the overall pattern itself goes, just rewatch my performance many times and study the pattern until you master it, okay? So for starters, you're going to shuffle the cards. Make sure you retain your 5 card setup on the top. Then, you're going to do an overhand shuffle just as so. You're going to peel off a block. As many cards as you want, it doesn't need to be too many. Then, instead of just diving right into an overhand shuffle, you're going to peel off just 1 card, and you're going to leave it in-jogged as so not flush with the rest of the cards. And then you're going to overhand shuffle the rest of the cards on top of it. Now, the reason for that in-jogged card is now you can lift up on that in-jog, square everything up, and this will let you acquire a break right on top of your 5 card stack, and that's exactly what you want. Because once you have this break, you're going to dive into a riffle shuffle to force the 2 cards. So you're going to go to the woman and say, I need you to riffle down, or I'm going to riffle down, and you're going to call out stop, okay? Again, look at the performance for the full pattern and study it. So you're going to do a riffle force, so just riffle down, have them call out stop. Wherever they call out stop, you're not actually going to lift up. You're just going to close up and lift from the break. So once you do that, you're going to flip over the next 2 cards and show the King of Hearts and the 3 of Spades. Now, this pack that have the 5 card stack, this is going to go right back on top. So at this point, you're going to have the woman sign the face of her card. So she'll take the Sharpie, and you're going to have her just sign her card. For me, I'm just going to put a big C, a big T, and an 8 for Cardtrix 8. That's a little tough to see on camera. Probably shouldn't have chosen a picture card for this because you can barely see the signature. But there's the signature. Now, again, watch the pattern, but you'll see like the little joke where you'll say, okay, maybe put your phone number on there as well, and then you continue with the rest of your pattern. But as you go on and on with your pattern, you're going to be displaying the card in front of everyone so that they can see that the signature is on there and it is the only card with their signature on it. Now, as you're displaying this card to everyone, you're going to be acquiring a break underneath the top card because you're going to be setting up for the Marlowe tilt. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Marlowe tilt is, it is a move that makes it look like you're placing the card into the middle, but you're actually going to be placing it into the second position. So you're displaying the card, you turn your hand away, you push off the top card, pull back, and you're catching a break, and this is going to allow you to set up for Marlowe tilt. So you have the break, and what you're going to be doing is taking this card, you're going to push it by the middle of the deck so you can stick out some cards in the middle. This is used as an extra convincer. And then once you do that, you're going to pull the card out and then slide it in, second from the top. And from the spectator's view, this is what they're going to see. It looks like the card is actually going into the middle because of this depth perception illusion right here and because of the cards you stuck out from the middle. So you can say it's more or less in the middle and then just square everything up. And the spectators are thoroughly convinced that the card is somewhere in the middle. But again, in reality, it's actually second from the top, okay? So from here, you're going to take the deck and give it a quick shake. Now make sure you're holding it in this grip. So it's like pretty much like a Biddle grip. And just give it a shake. You'll see exactly why I'm telling you to hold it like that later on. And then once you do that shake, you're going to do a double lift to show the card has jumped to the top. Now you can do this in any method. The method that I use in the performance is I just pinky counted 2 cards as so. And then I flipped over the double to show the sign card has jumped right back to the top. Once you've done that, you're going to take off the double. Again, this is 2 cards, so make sure you lift it off, keeping it nice and square. And you're going to flip it back over. Take the card that appears to be the king, is actually that random card, and place it in the middle. And then, of course, the spectator thinks their card is going in the middle at this point. Square it up, and then you're going to give the cards another shake. Now, this is why I had you hold the cards like this. Because this time, you're not going to hold it exactly like this, but you're going to be holding it in a similar fashion. You're going to be holding it just like this, because you are now getting set for a one-handed top card palm, which looks a little something like this. So now I've just palmed off the selected card. Sorry about that. This deck is really old and worn out, hence why I don't care about wasting cards, and that's why 2 cards stuck together when I went to palm off the card. But regardless, you're going to be doing a one-handed top card palm. Now, I'm not going to cover that move in depth in this video because I've already done an in-depth tutorial on my channel already. So, if you do not know how to do the one-handed top palm, click this link right up here, and that will take you to a video where I teach you the palm itself, okay? So, you're holding the cards just like this, and as you shake your hand, you're going to be carrying out the one-handed top card palm. And because you're shaking it, no one is going to see the card prop up. The shaking action will cover up the palming action. Now, I'm not sure if I really am going to be able to palm off the card this time, because the cards, these cards are just too sticky, so it's just not going to work out for me. But just pretend I did the one-handed top card palm. So all you've done is you palmed off their sign selection, okay? Now, at this point, once you have the card in a palm position, you're just going to set the deck down on the table, bring the hand with the palmed card away, just go to your pocket, and then just pull out that same card you palmed away, and then show that their signed card has jumped to the pocket. And again, just to clarify, I don't have any issues with the one-handed top card palm. I've already mastered that move. I just can't really do it in this video because this deck is so sticky, the cards just stick together when I try to palm it off. But anyways, the card is now been pulled out of the pocket. Spectators are amazed. Once you've pulled the card out of the pocket, you're going to pick the deck up, and you're going to do a Browie reversal. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over, and you're just going to lift up on the top card and catch a thumb break, okay? And then you're going to do a Browie reversal. So it looks like this. You're taking half the cards below the break, flipping it over, and moving it to the top. Then you're taking the other half of the cards below the break, flipping it over, and moving it to the top. So what this has just done is it's turned the entire deck face up, except for one card, and that's on the bottom, and that is the duplicate 3 of spades. So, you have the cards now face up in your hand as so, with the duplicate 3 of spades face down on the bottom, okay? You pick up the signed card, again, make sure you follow the pattern, place it on the bottom, flip it over. So now what you've done is you've just loaded their selection on top of that face up 3 of spades, and now the rest of the deck is going to be face down. So once you're here, you need to get a break and do another double lift. So this time in the performance, I just came over, riffled up the back, and caught a break, but you can use any method you want. You can do a pinky count, you can riffle up the side, any way you want to do it. But once you get your break, you're going to take both cards as one, keep them nice and square so it looks like one, do another double lift, push the card that they think is the signed king, but now is actually that duplicate 3 of spades. Set the deck down, and now you're just going to start tearing the card into fourths. Now, the one thing you want to be really careful of is you do not flash this card, because when you're tearing, you are going to have a natural tendency to pull up, and if you pull up too far, they can see this card. So you want to make sure that you keep the card angled down, and that as you're tearing it, they do not see the card whatsoever. So you tear the card into fourths, and then you explain how the spectator pinned the card underneath their hand. So you're going to ask your spectator, the male spectator, you're going to ask him to pin that ripped card underneath their hand, and they're going to do so. Again, I don't have a spectator with me, so once again, let's just use this card box as an example. So the spectator's hand is on it. Again, we're just going to use the box today to represent the spectator's hand, okay? Once that happens, again, you're following the pattern. You're going to pick up that 3 of spades, and as you pick it up, you're just going to turn your hand away, so all the attention's here, and you're just going to catch a pinky break right underneath the top card using a push-off pinky break. Set the card right on top, maintaining the break. You're going to lift up the card, and you're going to grab it by the corners as so. Now, if you're holding this card in your left hand like I'm doing now, you're going to grab it by the corners opposite of the indexes. But if you're holding it in your right hand, then you're grabbing it by the corners with the indexes, okay? So you're holding the card as so, and now all that's left for you to do is to do a shapeshifter change, which looks something like this. Now, on camera like that, it kind of looks obvious that it's flipping over, but in real life, no one's ever going to catch it. Now, the way you do the shapeshifter change is, again, you hold the cards by the corner, you come over with the middle finger and the thumb of the opposite hand, grip the other 2 corners. Now all you have to do is pull down and release. Now in slow motion it doesn't really work as I tried to show you, otherwise the cards get stuck, but you just pull down and release as so. I meant to say pull down and alright, let's try this again. Again, apologies if my handling is off. It's really not me. These are basic moves that I've already mastered. It's just this grubby, worn-out deck that's messing up my handling. I know that sounds like an excuse, but I'm really not kidding. The deck is really just not in good shape anymore, okay? But regardless, like I said, you're holding it by these corners. You come over with the opposite fingers, the middle and thumb, and grab the opposite corners as well. And then you just pull down, release, and the card will naturally just turn over like this. Again, maybe with these crappy cards, it might not happen, but that's what it's kind of supposed to look like. Now you have 2 options. You can either just pull down and let go as I did, or you can do like a 1, 2, 3 count. So it can be a 1, 2, 3. Not like that. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3. So just like that. And then it visually looks like that 3 of spades transforms into the signed King of Hearts. Now, at this point, people are already going to be freaking out because they just saw this signed King of Hearts get torn and placed underneath the spectator's hand a minute ago. So now that they see it back into pieces and right here in front of them, they already know what's going to happen. But eventually, they look underneath their hand and now they see that that 3 of spades is underneath their hand and torn, and it was like that the entire time. And that is pretty much the trick. It really blows people's minds. People are going to have no clue how this is even possible. Now, you could just end the trick here, but the problem is at this point in time, you are not left completely clean because you still have that duplicate 3 of spades on top of the deck. So, if you wish to clean up, you're going to do it as follows. You're going to be holding the deck in your hand. And before I proceed any further, let's go back in time for a moment where these cards were underneath the card box as so. You do your shapeshifter change, you show the King of Spades, you hold the deck in your hand, don't place it down like I did, and then you can say, and you can have your card back, check underneath your hand. And of course, everyone is going to want to see what's underneath here. Everyone wants to see, is that 3 of spades really under there now being the torn up card somehow? And while the spectator turns these pieces over, and while everyone is staring over here, because again, all the focus is going to be right here, because everyone wants to see what this card is. All you're going to be doing is doing a one-handed top card palming the card off, and then ditching it into your pocket. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, then do not hesitate to comment them in the comment section below. I will answer all questions to the best of my ability. So like I said, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Cardtrix 8 signing off.